Using a custom Wix registration can help your branding stay consistent. It's great for membership sites of all kinds. But when you create too many steps to gain access to your website, it may discourage users from signing up. By using a single form to insert the user information into your Wix CRM and create their profile in your custom database simultaneously, it may help increase your registration numbers. I'm Code Queen Ayeli, and I'm going to show you how to make this totally codable. If you visit totallycodable.com/registration, you will see an example of what a short custom registration form looks like. If you visit totallycodable.com/advanced-registration, you're going to see a revamped way of creating your custom registration. It has the same elements. We've just added a few more to actually create a profile after the person hits the enter button. If you're an advanced coder, or if you would like to follow along, click the video description below to find the link to the tutorial site so you can copy and paste the code. Let's dive into the editor. I'm going to show you how I created this form. If you don't know how to create a form, please visit the Core Vid Basics tutorial videos to learn how to create the user input elements. Make sure to turn on the developer mode and open up the code panel below. Paste the code that you got from my tutorial site here. Now that you've pasted the code, close the code panel and we'll come back to it in a moment. Let's review the elements that are on my page. We need at least 4 elements. 1 element for the email, 1 for the password, for the first name and last name. For my form, I added 3 extra elements: code experience, languages spoken, and more about you. I've also added a checkbox. This checkbox will have code that will check to see if the checkbox is marked. If it is, it will enable the registration button down below. If it's not, it will disable it. I also have 2 error messages, one on the top, underneath the email user input, and one on the bottom. Let's start by adding a dataset to the page. From the menu, click on Content Manager and click on Dataset. Click on the settings of the dataset and select your custom database. Make sure it's set to Write Only. Now that you have your dataset configured, you can start connecting your elements on your form. It is recommended not to save and store any password information for the user. But you can connect the email address, the first name, last name, and all the elements below. While you're connecting the form elements, make sure to not connect the Submit button. This will be connected directly via the code. If you notice on my form, I have a Forgot Password button. This is completely optional to have. Select one of your elements, right-click, and open up the Properties panel. Make sure to relabel any elements that you need so they can match your code. After you're done, open up the code panel. Let me zoom into my code so you can see it a little bit better. At the very top, we have the import lines. After that, we have the onReady function. You'll notice that I have a code for my terms box. This is the checkbox that I used in my form. If you're not going to have a checkbox, then you can delete this. What my code is saying is that when the checkbox changes, we want to know if it's checked or not checked. So it's going to return a true or false. If it is checked, then I want the registration to be enabled. Or else, I want the registration button to disable. Make sure you change the IDs of this code to match your form elements. Underneath that, you will see the Forgot Password button. If you're not going to use the Forgot Password, you can remove these lines of code. Remember that the Forgot Password button does not work if a user is already logged in. So I've added a couple of lines of code to check if the person is logged in, and if they are, I'm going to redirect them to a different page. Moving on to the rest of the code, I actually have an on-key press event. I left this here just in case you wanted to use it. I'm actually going to delete it. Let me explain why. The on-key press event will be triggered each time a key is pressed. This specific code is actually looking for the enter key. Because I'm using a checkbox, it is not logical for me to have an on-key press event code. Even if they press the enter key on any of these fields, they would still have to physically check off this button in order for my submit button to be enabled. But if you're not going to use a checkbox, then I recommend you update this code here. Moving on to the registration code. I have my registration button. When it's clicked, I'm going to hide any possible errors that might already be displayed on the screen because I want to attempt to validate my user input elements once more. I'm only validating the email, password, first name, and last name. But if you would like to validate more, just add them on to this line. If they are all valid, then I'm going to get the 4 main ones, email, password, first, and last name, and I'm going to trigger the registration on Wix. If it is successfully registered, then I want to trigger my dataset to save. That means all of these user input elements that were connected to this dataset will be saved in the database. Then after it successfully saves the dataset, I want to redirect the person to a specific page on my website. If the registration is not successful, then I'm going to catch the error and I'm going to display the email already exists. Or if all of these input elements are not valid, then I'm going to display the error message at the bottom of the form. This is all the code that you need. Let's go ahead and check it out. First, we're going to test the existing email code. candy@shop.com is an email address that I used in a different tutorial video. So it's already registered on my site. Name of Candy, last name Twix. Checkbox works. The email already exists. Let's change this to Candy222. Now it successfully registers and it redirects me to the login page. If you need help creating your database or creating the form, make sure to check out the Core Wix Basics videos that we have on the Totally Codable YouTube channel. Or if you still need an extra hand, I'm available for private sessions. Just follow the link to my website in the video description and send us a message. Please remember to like this video if it did help you. And I appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Any like or comment really helps put my videos in front of other people. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Code Queen Nayeli, and this was another Totally Codable moment.